Doors closing. Addison is next.
We better than ever. I'm here eating some cheese, man. Sitting with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Miles Porter. Our first show of the year. Welcome back to Blue Line Radio. I am Mike Hughes, joined always by the amazing, the greatest Shalom Slugger himself, Miles Porter. Miles, how you feeling, baby?
I'm feeling great, man. I think I'm kind of overstimulated at the moment, honestly, with everything that's happened in Chicago sports, man. This has been great. This has been great, man. I'm feeling great.
Dude, it was and shout out Miles, man. We did some stuff with Tick Pick earlier yesterday, and it was just such a blessing to be able to, make amazing content and be able to do something for the city that was just so kick-ass, man. And to be able to do that with you, bro, was like such a blessing in its own.
That was awesome.
But we'll keep that. We'll wait till that's like posted and everything. We'll talk more about that another day. But
yeah.
Also ran into some guy, Snarp, whoever the fuck Snarp is. If y'all see me on whatever the fuck, just know I had no idea. And Miles did not stop it. Miles didn't stop it for a single second. Miles let me get played, and luckily, by the hands of Papa Hallis, I held it down. I was very professional. I did not get rage baited. But no, in all seriousness, Miles and I did not expect that at all. It was a crazy tailgate.
It happened so quickly. I just didn't know when there was. It happened so quick.
It happened so quick, but we held it down. It was all good. Fuck Detroit. But I think for me, man, I love this. I love this because there I am sitting in section 250 with my girl. We're hanging out, and the Bears are losing 21-3. And I'm sitting there, and it's just like, damn. You really have no other words but damn. And I get the notification on my phone, Alex Bregman to the Chicago Cubs. And I scream. It's really loud. I'm like, holy shit, holy cow. The Cubs just got Alex Bregman, not a peep from anyone. But then as time went on, it started to trickle out. You heard more and more people celebrating. I high-fived some guys. We were having a blast. But Miles, man, we have so much to talk about today. But before we get into that, I just want to say one thing. For all the people that messaged me over the last 2 years that Caleb Williams has never beaten Jordan Love because Jordan Love never finished the game, that Caleb Williams can only beat the backup quarterbacks and the backup players of the Green Bay Packers. You can suck my dick, baby, and kiss my butt kiss because Cancun on 3, baby. I'm grading it. You can't see it. I love it, baby. So you can kiss my butt kiss, baby. Suck my dick, whatever you gotta do. I'm in there like swimwear. Caleb fucking Williams, the truth. I'm putting the cheese grater away. I think he served his purpose today. But man, it was such an amazing atmosphere right now. Miles, on top of that, the Bulls won, the Blackhawks won. The Bears won against the Packers in the playoffs, and the Cubs got Bregman. Was this a top 3 day in history of Chicago sports?
100%. 100%. And it's funny because we talk about this amongst ourselves, where it's like, man, I would just love to have like a good feeling of being a Chicago sports fan, right? And it's been kind of tough the past few years across all sports, right? I mean, yeah, the Cubs went to the playoffs last year. We didn't know. We were anticipating a good Bear. We were hoping for a good Bears season, and we've gotten one, right?
Yeah.
This has been one of the best feelings I've ever experienced ever as a Chicago sports fan. I think you easily put this in top 3 because as a whole, we're all through the roof right now.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, brother. I love it so much. And it was so cool to see Io DeSumo of the Chicago Bulls actually talk about it in the post-game interview where he's like, Bears coming back because, he's a Chicago native. I mean, this is a guy that we grew up seeing hoop at AAU tournaments and all this other stuff. And he obviously went to Urbana, which is super cool, man. So to see just the city embracing that, I'm sure Javon Carter and Modest Buzelis were super hyped too. The Bulls players walked out in the cheese grater hats. I mean, it was beautiful, man. The city's embracing it, and I'm all for it. But we got some news, man, and you kind of mentioned it talking about the Cubs making the playoffs last year. I believe the Chicago Cubs were an Edward Cabrera away from advancing to the NLCS, and that's really where I'm at with it. And obviously, the word Edward Cabrera can also be rotated with a healthy Cade Horton, a healthy Justin Steele, or even Shota Imanaga at full force. The idea of we were a starting pitcher away from winning that series and advancing really can just plug in with anybody. The Chicago Cubs at the top of the week, in the middle of a school day. I mean, we were all working. I was working at the school, and all these kids are walking up to me talking about Mr. Hughes, hey, we got Edward Cabrera. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then, it's taken hours to find out what we gave back. Me, you, Saul, and Gabe are like texting amongst ourselves. I have no Wi-Fi in my building at work, so I'm like refreshing, like, who is it? Yeah. I mean, there was rumors of Shaw. There was rumors of this, and the third. But I have multiple questions for you, and I think my most interesting one here. We're gonna get back to it. Are you so make sure after this, make sure I stay online that I have to ask you something. All right.
Okay. All right.
Don't feel rude. Be like, Mike, lock in, and I'll be like, oh, you're right. But the Chicago Cubs trade away number 1 prospect Owen Casey, the Red Rifle himself, and De Leon, who is a third baseman and prospect in the Cubs organization, for Edward Cabrera, which, by the way, if you play fantasy baseball, Edward Cabrera was a waiver wire monster for me in 2025 up until the UCL sprain. We'll get into that later, but the Cubs move with Edward Cabrera. They finally have their gunslinger. They finally have the flamethrower that we've been desperately waiting for. And, Miles has talked about it a million times, having more culture in the clubhouse, more diversity. It brings a lot of fun. So to have a guy, that was in the 305 and have a guy who understands the culture of baseball and what comes with that is super cool. And it's something that, we're going to have a whole podcast talking about the Texas Rangers team right now, which is straight out the 1800s, but whatever. But no, man, to really just see the Cubs get a guy like Edward Cabrera. I mean, what does that mean for you about how serious they are? Because up until that point, you and I spoke with Gabe of the New 24 podcast and talked about how that the Chicago White Sox spent more money this offseason than the Chicago Cubs. And all you got out of it was Hobie Milner, Scott Kingery, Caleb Thielbar again. So it wasn't anything new. And a couple other bullpen guys, man. So to get that flamethrower, what did that mean for you?
Yeah, I mean, it means that they understand it more than we thought they did, right? I mean, when we did the podcast when I was in Arizona, a lot of the points that I made was just like, it's very interesting why the Cubs aren't really making these like high leverage moves in terms of guys that are really bringing it a lot. I've said it before and I'll continue to say it. Their talent of developing pitching is incredible. It's incredible. Sorry, my cat is.
That is perfectly fine.
Hey, Luda, can you? Thank you. Their talent, the Cubs' knack for finding good pitching is absolutely incredible. And it's just, I was always wondering. I was like, well, hey, I mean, if you're able to turn a guy who's throwing low 90s with good movement into a sub 3 or 3.5 guy, what's holding you back from working on a guy who's throwing 95 plus, 98 plus? We saw what they've done with Valencia, and that was an incredible year that he had last year. They have the ability to really have guys really lock into what their true potential is. Yeah. So I was always curious. I'm like, Hey man, you keep signing guys who don't throw hard. You're making them good pitchers. How about we get someone who throws hard and make him a good pitcher as well?
Yeah. And it's not like I mean, what is the perfect example of what it could look like if the Chicago Cubs have a flamethrower enter a Aroldis Chapman in 2016? You know what I mean?
Right,
Like it's
right.
not unfamiliar territory for success at Wrigley Field with guys who just throw the lights out the ball. And that's just what it is. So super excited about that. We're going to also be talking about a lot of 2016 guys in an upcoming podcast later this week. I think Miles and I needed to brief about a couple things about what we're going to talk about and how we're going to go about Cubs Con this year. Hopefully you guys see us there if you're going to check us out. Miles is, every week Miles checks in to see if I'm going to be going to Cubs Con, and I think it's his way of making sure that I go to Cubs Con. And as the Irish Italian that I am, if you keep telling me to do something, eventually I'll probably do it more times than not. Especially if it involves wasting my money. But I did want to circle back because we talked about Bregman a little bit. We talked about Cabrera. Cabrera will be making $4.4 million in 2025 or 2026. Pardon me. I knew I was going to do that. But we have him under control until 2029. The question I want to ask you is this. The
Yeah.
Chicago Cubs bring in Alex Bregman on a 5-year, $175 million deal. The Chicago Cubs also trade number one prospect and opening day right fielder Owen Casey to the 305 for Edward Cabrera. If they had the idea of replacing Matt Shaw at third base with Alex Bregman, why do you think Matt Shaw wasn't a part of that deal for Edward Cabrera? Do you think it was Casey or bust for the 305? Or was there a potential chance of, hey, man, we'll give you Shaw, Alcantara, and another to try to get that deal done? Because I know they've been after Casey for a couple seasons now. So it kind of feels like it was really Casey or bust for them.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way as well. I, I'm, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. There's obviously a plan for Shaw, right? The Bregman trade really shakes up everything. By the way, Bregman going from one team to another, he really does kind of shake up everything. You saw that with Devers last year, and
Yeah.
now we're trying to figure out Matt Shaw, Nico Horner. Bregman really comes in and makes his presence known. Yeah. So I don't know. I think that there is a plan for Shaw. I'm curious if he was a part of that deal. I don't know if it would have made sense for him to be a part of it because I don't know what else the Marlins could have given us. I mean, they have some dogs on that roster, but really we're looking at Edward Cabrera for the most part. And if we give up Casey and Shaw, I mean, we want a big haul back, at least in terms of minor leaguers. I don't know what the Marlins have to give us. I felt like that trade that we gave them in general, I think that made the most sense, especially since we already gave them what was it, two other prospects along with Owen Casey.
Just D alone, I believe. But
Okay.
That's kind of where I'm coming from with it, though. Is like if you had the idea of we're going to get Alex Bregman, and obviously they gave him the years that he wanted that a lot of other ball clubs weren't willing to do, so you kind of understood the market and that you were probably going to hit on him. Why not trade Matt Shaw instead of Owen Casey to the 305? And again, I think ultimately it just comes down to Owen Casey being a top 50 prospect in baseball and the number one prospect in this system. And they've had their eyes on him for a couple of years, but it kind of makes you wonder, like, if you would have offered a little bit more, not saying they would, but let's say you potentially say Matt Shaw, Jackson Wiggins, Bankett, Edward Cabrera. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it's a conversation because now we're going to talk about it now, I feel like, and then we'll talk about Bregman because I feel like we're all over the place, but I just kind of love when we just have a flow conversation.
No, yeah, this is because a lot of emotions going on right now. I get it.
It's rough because, okay, now you have a Hall of Fame or mid-tier Hall of Fame, depending on, you know what, are we even going to, I don't know, because of certain things that occurred during the World Series. I don't know if we're looking at a Hall of Fame third baseman, but I would, the play speaks for itself. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's just the buzzer's pretty loud too. But I think for me,
oh man,
it's just one of those things where you're in an uncomfortable situation now if you are Nico Horner and Matt Shaw, because there were already the conversations about Nico Horner potentially going to Seattle or other places last offseason. Now there's kind of rumblings a couple of weeks ago that they're taking calls. If people are calling, they're answering. Not to say they're shopping them, but they're just trying to do their due diligence to see what's out there. Now there's also a Matt Shaw who was absolutely horrendous in the postseason for the Chicago Cubs offensively, defensively, an absolute stud, but offensively completely struggled at times. And it was a roller coaster rookie year. What do you think the vibes are for a Nico Horner and a Matt Shaw right now when it comes to job security? And who do you give the axe to if it comes down to it? Or do you turn one into a platoon guy, most likely Matt Shaw?
I think there's a bit of there's a bit of an unsettling feeling for the both of them right now. Um, now I love Matt Shaw defensively. I just love watching this dude work at third. I think he is so talented, and if we were to part ways with Nico, I'm very confident in that infield. But here's how I see it, and here's what I kind of want the Cubs to think. I do not think it makes sense for us to sign a Bregman and then trade away a Horner because, in my opinion, that negates the entire trade. Now we're just the same team that we were last year. Like I want the Cubs to keep all of their best guns as much as they can because we got a lot of guys walking next year, right? So, I mean, if it means that we got to part ways with Matt Shaw, or if he can't accept a platoon role, then so be it. But I think it makes sense. The infield that makes sense to me: Bregman, Swanson, Horner, Bush. That doesn't like to me. This is not even a question. And you look at what Horner did offensively last year. What are we talking about? You know what I mean? And that's not to say that Matt Shaw isn't going to be talented offensively, right? He's still very young. That was his first year in the big leagues. I totally get all of that. But like I said earlier, we got a lot of guys walking next year. I think we got to try to fully send it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And I think there's a lot that I think goes into it as well. And I think when you really have that conversation about what Alex Bregman is providing to the Chicago Cubs at this
Mhm.
stage of his career, you're looking at Alex Bregman's 2025 second half had a strong performance. And then for whatever reason, it's telling me that about the night games as well. After All-Star break, he had a 304 average, 13 home runs in night games compared to day games, which was a 273 average, 18 home runs, and an 822 OPS. By the way, night or day, I brought that stat up for a reason. Incredible, whether it's night or day. You know what I mean? Like, and that's something that just made me laugh.
Absolutely.
It's like, okay, so he's great no matter what. He's just a little better during the lights. When the lights are the brightest, he's there.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll take it. Um,
Yeah.
but I think for me, man, when you talk about Bregman coming into the fold, bringing in another World Series champion, no matter how you feel about it, that's what he is. And he has all the playoff experience in the world. I think that's everything for this ball club. And I talked about it when we got Dansby Swanson. I talked about it when we had Yan Gomes. I talked about it when we had so many other guys who have won championships with other organizations. It is
Mhm.
important. And it is important to have guys who have been there because you can see exactly what happens when the
That's
lights
right.
are the brightest and guys don't
Yeah.
show up. We saw
Mhm.
Asaya Suzuki struggle during the NLDS at times. We saw Pete Crow
Yeah.
Armstrong struggle, a Dansby Swanson struggle. Guys struggle are supposed to uplift others. And I'll
Mhm.
tell you this right now. The only guy who got a complete pass in the 2025 postseason of the Chicago Cubs was Nico Horner. I've said it a
Mhm.
million times. Nico Horner is your modern day Rhino. He is your Anthony Rizzo. He is your captain, whether you believe that or not. And I think for me, you trade away a Nico Horner, this clubhouse is going to have a lot of questions. He's 27, 28 years old. The kid just came off another gold glove. That's 2 gold gloves under his belt, 29 stolen bases last year. You're looking at over 285 batting average every single year at minimum. I mean, he's providing you something that only 3 players in the league have done, and that's Jose Ramirez and Bobby Witt Jr. He had the top 15 highest WAR by a position player in 2025. That is Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Ronald Acuna
Yeah.
Jr., Tatis, your favorite players. He is
Yeah.
amongst the greats. If you tell me it comes down to Shaw or Horner, and you move on from Horner because of the money, I don't want to fucking hear it because the reports are the Cubs have deferred a lot of money in Bregman's contract. Now, the report I
Mhm.
read was $70 million out of
That's what I. That's what I
175.
saw.
If that's legit, Nico Horner deserves an extension immediately. I want it done
Yeah.
before spring training. I don't want this to be something that's looming over him throughout the season. I don't want him trying to hit the long ball, which obviously Nico can do. We've seen it towards the end of last year.
Yeah.
Knocking that
Yeah.
thing out of there, modern day Barry
Yeah.
Bonds, if you will. I wouldn't, but if you will. But yeah, man, it's a perfect setup for a Nico Horner extension. Now, we talked to Gabe and we talked to some of my guys as well about what do you do with Matt Shaw? I'm gonna be honest. There's two ways you look at it. You trust Seiya Suzuki in right field. You live or die by it. I think there were moments where I was like, hey, Seiya made some improvements last year, but I've had enough negative moments to say I would never let you be in right field in a meaningful game ever again. The two places I want to take this right now. Do you trade Matt Shaw for an outfielder? Get a young guy, get a veteran, somebody to just stick out there so Seiya can continue to DH. Or Kevin Alcantara, El Jaguar. Do you finally give him all of the at-bats you can possibly give him during spring training to see if there's something there? Or are you already like, I've seen enough? Because I truly don't believe we've seen anything from this kid. And it's because Craig and Jed just haven't put him in position to have success.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think because it has been a small sample size with him, part of me is like I've seen enough. The other part of me wants to see some more. I think this kid deserves a shot. That'd also be pretty fun to see him in the outfield with PCA and Ian. Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure because I think Seiya showed signs last year of actually being a very solid outfielder. Um, just in terms of stepping up because Kyle Tucker wasn't able to be out there, and I thought Seiya played exceptional defense. I really do. But I also understand having reserves of putting him out there, especially in a year that, in my opinion, is pretty pivotal, depending on if we're gonna, go to the playoffs or whatever the future holds for the Cubs. I don't know. If we trade Shaw, yes, I'd like to see Alcantara out there, but I want Suzuki to stay in the DH spot. And I don't know because I really want to see Ballesteros get some more ABs as well. So there's a little bit of a logjam there, in my opinion. I love Moises Ballesteros. I love that dude.
Oh, dog.
I want to see him in the lineup every freaking day. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
But I think I'd rather see him Moises in the lineup over Kevin Alcantara. But depends on performance.
I can't be mad at it. And again, I'm gonna be viewed as a hater. But when certain individuals, Seiya and Ian included in this, have no trade clauses, this is the predicament that you're in. And I'll tell you what, because of the lockout, because of everything going on with the Dodgers and other teams, and we kind of understand where we're at with that, I'm willing to hold on to these guys. I know a lot of people are like, dude, the Cubs have too many prospects between Alcantara and Casey and Shaw and Ballesteros and all these guys. Sure, Casey just got moved, but with the lockout looming and everything else going on, hold on to him for a year. Let's see what happens. Ian Happ's going to be off the books at the end of the 2026 season. Seiya Suzuki, if I'm not mistaken, is off the books at the end of the 2026 season or 27. I completely forget when.
We got a lot of guys walking soon, man. I believe this is Seiya's last year, if I'm not mistaken.
So if it's Ian and Seiya's last year, and you're going to tell me that all you have going into 2027 is PCA, why let go of Kevin Alcantara? Why let go of a Matt Shaw? Why let go of a bunch of different guys? Because you're going to need to reload going into 2027. And what that'll even look like, I don't know. Because prior to getting Bregman, I was like, Cubs are chilling no matter what happens during the whole CBA and everything going on. But now that they deferred $70 million, I'm curious to say what happens if the league says we're no longer deferring money? What happens if the league says you guys can't do that? You guys can have to start paying your players what you owe them. Like that would be, and we're playing hypotheticals here. Obviously, there's going to be a couple like rage baiters in the comments, like, oh no, you can't change it once it happens. It's a contract. Well, that's a whole part of the CBA, brother. Anything can change at any moment.
Right.
We can make a floor, we can make a ceiling, we can make a million different things. I mean, it could be insane. But we're gonna have a whole episode on that, and it's gonna be exciting. And we still have a lot of Cubs ownership conversations to have as well at some point. I know I'm just talking out of my ass right now, so I do apologize, but we've been gone for a while. So I just want to fill you in on like what the 2026 season looks like for Miles and I, man. Shalom Sluggers is going to do a lot of amazing things with Miles and his co-host this year for everything going on with Team Israel and the World Baseball Classic, which is, I believe, 60 to 90 something days away. I don't even know. But it's coming up fast, man. And I'm super excited. Maybe a conversation with Chicago Cubs hot corner. Who knows who may be playing for Team Israel? We'll have to see. But
what was the question you wanted to ask me? I remember you said there was something.
That was it. That was it.
Okay. Okay.
It was it was do you move Nico or do you move Matt? And that
Yeah.
was really like that's really where I'm at, man. But it's really cool. And like I love to play devil's advocate. I love to be that guy who's like, yo, if we had Lackey and Hayward and Zobrist in 15, we would have went to the World Series. And obviously, like you can play that game all day long, but like we were an Alex Bregman away from beating the Brewers. We were Edward Cabrera away from beating the Brewers. So to say that not only one guy is impactful in that way, but two guys, it's incredible. And I'm just so ecstatic. The Cubs have Alex Bregman, Miles. Like
Can I add something? Can I add something to that? Because that's such a good point that you just made.
Add whatever, anything you want.
I forgot. I was listening to this I don't know if it was MLB Network. I don't know if it was 670. But Alex Bregman's leadership is talked about a lot. It's referenced a lot. You know, from the talent speaks for itself. But and I mean, you know, because we're Cubs fans, because we're Chicago media, we're going to be referencing Tucker a little bit until we forget about it, right? There's a difference in leadership when it comes to Kyle Tucker, when it comes to Alex Bregman, right? And we talked about this a little bit where it's like Kyle Tucker is more reserved. You know, he goes about his business. He's very just like, you know, it's not a lot. It's not too much emotion that comes with, you're itching to say. So it's not too much emotion that comes with it. Well, a lot of what people are now starting to say is that Alex Bregman is the leadership that we've been missing in this clubhouse. And while Kyle Tucker is very talented, the leadership and emotional standpoint wasn't there. You know, David Kaplan also said it where it's, go ahead, Mike.
No, keep going.
I know you're talking to this. I think,
Miles, just push it, Miles. Put full send it, Miles.
You know, I think it's important because I've talked about it in the past, whether it was you, whether it was my dad.
Yeah.
I want this team to have some sort of emotion. I want this to have like a fire starter. You know, people got pissed off at PCA when he was strike out and throw something. I love that. I love that emotion, bro. Look, we have a lot of level-headed guys on this baseball team, and that's very good. That's going to take us very far. And it took us very far last year. We also need a couple of dickheads. We need a couple of guys that are going to be like, hey, guys, let's go. Get in the umpire's face. Get thrown out of it. Even Nico Horner got thrown out at one point. Come on. What are we doing?
Well, what did Nico Horner say? You're having a really bad day. That was fucking crazy. That was one of the craziest moments I've ever seen. And I have never seen like a more – and this is about to sound like a whole different podcast, but like I have never seen a more insecure grown man than that umpire on that day.
Yeah.
My man said, you've had a really bad day so far, and ejected him out of the game. And Craig was even like, you can't fuck us out of games like this, bro. What is happening?
Yeah.
Nico Horner is a man from Stanford, a man with a degree, a man of the people. Like, Nico Horner isn't cussing you out and saying horrible things about your mom and your kids.
No.
Like it was crazy. Yeah. But I completely agree with what you're saying. And I'm gonna
little fire. That's all. Some hardcore leadership.
It's good. It's what it is. And I'm gonna say something, and you're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. And I will make sure that in this clip, I am the only one that's shown, because it is what it is. Alex Bregman is a fucking leader. Alex Bregman is a leader amongst men. No matter how you feel about it, he is war battle tested. He has been in the highest levels of the highest games you could potentially imagine. Kyle Tucker is a brand. Kyle Tucker is about Kyle Tucker. You could see it by his social media crew. You could see it by who he is, how he conducts himself, jogging to first base. I don't care if you had a hairline stress fracture in your finger. That has nothing to do with them legs. Them legs worked just fine, Kyle. But that's something for me that frustrated me, bro. Like, in all seriousness, like, I'm talking a little shit, sure. But like, at the end of the day, Kyle Tucker felt like he was about himself the entire time. It didn't really feel like he was a part of the clubhouse. It didn't really feel like him and Nico or PCA were best buddies and everything was kumbaya and everything was great. It didn't feel like that at any point. And that's all I'm saying is, like, look, he came here with the sole purpose of building his brand and having a great season to get paid. Congratulations. Shout out to you. Even in the time missed, you still had a really solid season. Thank you for everything. but it's time to fucking go. Alex Bregman is a leader and Kyle Tucker is a brand. And once people start to understand the difference between the two, you're going to have success on the field and off the field because it changes everything. And I'm very excited to see that because even Alex Bregman's situation with Devers, like you said, I mean, Devers conducted himself as well as he possibly could in that situation. But I don't think people talked about how well Bregman conducted himself because he understood that Devers is a legend and Devers meant so much to the Red Sox organization and paid his dues. That's a fucking champion. Like, I'm not coming here just to take his job. Bregman was willing to change positions. Bregman was willing to have those conversations. He just would prefer he didn't. You know what I mean? And that's really where I was at, where it's like, in this situation, Matt Shaw, I'm sorry, brother. Move the fuck over. And I'm going to say something, and whether you're, matter of fact, let me just, because my brother is important. He does important things. I'm going to tell you something right now. If I see you at political rallies and doing a million other things in the offseason, when you went 1 for 20 something in October, and I don't see one video of you in the cages, I have a fucking problem with that. Mike has a problem with that. Me, myself, I'm telling you straight to your face, as a person who's met you, as a person who has been in your corner, and I believe you are a genuine person, a genuine human. I'm not with all that bullshit that social media and everybody else misconstrues. Like, I met the guy. I know the guy. But I'll tell you this, nothing pissed me off more than seeing you trending on social media for all the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? And whether it's you were at a political rally or you were going 115 miles an hour in a school zone, I don't fucking care. You don't need negative publicity when you were dog shit in October and a huge reason to why we couldn't overcome the Brewers. That is my opinion, not Miles Porter, not the opinions of Blue Line Radio. That is Mike's opinion. And that's just where I'm at with it. Because, look, you believe whatever you want to believe. The world's fucked up. A million things going on in the world right now. And I'd say 80-something% of it is bad at this moment on January 11th. But anything can change. The world could be a better place, a million different things. It's not, it's not always black and white. There's a lot of people who have ties to people, whatever. But I'm telling you, myself, rubbed me the wrong way. And that's just where I'll leave it with that. Because we had a lot of fans in the comments saying that we didn't address that and we were scary to address that. I'll fucking address it. I'm just not going to full send it like a couple other people in Chicago media did, which I was like, the one thing about baseball, man, is you're going to learn how many people have a lot of different beliefs. And that's one of those things that, like, you get into that point where it's like, man, you just can't say certain things to people. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, yeah, everybody has a right to believe whatever the fuck they want to believe, but just know, you know what I mean? Just know Alex Bregman's the starting third baseman of the Chicago Cubs now, and I'm sure the play of Matt Shaw was the majority of that conversation. You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest, Miles. Me and you right now, one of our last conversations, I want to talk about the hot corner. The Chicago Cubs have 2015 Chris Bryant on this roster. Rookie Chris Bryant. Do they sign Bregman?
No.
Exactly. Like, we're not going to sit up here and act like Matt Shaw had a Rookie of the Year historic season. It wasn't that at all. Like, I don't know what else to say. I don't know how to break it to you, but Matt Shaw is an incredible third baseman, an incredible hitter, not so much. And the Cubs are in this window right now where Nico Hoerner is 27 years old. PCA is on a rookie deal. You have Cade Horton and Justin Steele returning and a bunch of guys in this organization. You have to win now. There is no next year. The guys who we got who were once 20 years old are older now. I mean, I think Owen Casey was like 18 when we brought him into this organization, 17, 18 years old. Kids old enough to drink now. You know what I mean? Like, it's been some time.
We're working with a window. We are working with a window. So that's why my point earlier, like you said, I think we keep Nico around and then we part ways with Matt Shaw. That's what we have to do. But I gotta, why not put the best roster out there possible? I don't understand. Nico's the best defensively. He's the best offensively. Mike, I can't even believe this is even a conversation.
Yeah, it's frustrating, man. And look, being completely honest, I'm at the point where I believe that the entire Chicago Cubs infield can win a Gold Glove in 2026. I believe Bregman, Swanson, Horner, and Bush can all be Gold Glove finalists in 2026. And that is an incredible feeling, especially when you already know that PCA is out there in center field with a glove. You have Ian Happ, who has like 3 or 4 of them things in left field.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, throw Seiya in right. I trust everybody else on the field to make sure he doesn't fuck it up. I'm sorry, Seiya. But no, but it's that serious to where it's like, you ever have that one guy on your baseball team that has no glove, but you're like, yeah, but I trust our shortstop to be behind him and we'll be all right. You know what I mean? Or like, I trust the cutoff man to be able to make some plays.
Yeah, I mean it's good because I mean it's okay to have like a weak spot at some point, somewhere on the defense, right? Like if Seiya Suzuki is like what we consider like our weakest spot,
that's solid.
I think I'm okay. I'm okay because I don't think Seiya's bad either. But in terms of like what we're in terms of looking at PCA and everyone else and how well they play their positions at an elite level, Seiya doesn't. He's not at that level at his position compared to everyone else is at their position. That's fine. I still think Seiya's like average for MLB. I'll take it. We just got an above average. We just got a sick defense, man. Everyone's just above average, and we got one average guy who has below average moments. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
no. I can live with that. I can 100% live with that. Yeah.
And I think the offensive production also is like, oh man, Seiya made an error and a 3-run home run by Seiya Suzuki. The following
exactly.
Like I can live with that. If he is your worst defender in this entire ballpark, I'm cool with it. Like when Christopher Morel was probably viewed as our worst, it was kind of like, dang, you know what I mean? Like Gregory or somebody like that. It's like, that's rough. I
remember Starlin Castro getting a lot of crap. Remember how tough it was for him defensively? Then he goes ahead and hits 200 hits per season. He's one of the best hitters on the Cubs. First of all, the Starlin Castro disrespect from a player standpoint. Not talking about the outside stuff. The way some people that would disrespect him as a player, I'd be like, yeah, see, I'm not on that train. Yeah. Because he would make up for it offensively as well. Yeah. In a lineup where he wasn't getting a lot of support during that time. So Starlin's one of those guys that I completely understand why he wasn't a part of the 2016 Cubs because of the arrival of Addison Russell and Javi Baez and Ben Zobrist's introduction to the organization. But he's a guy that I wish could have been on the 2016. He's someone that I'm like, oh man, I wish he was a part of that.
Like I wish because like what it meant for Riz was just different than what it meant for KB or Javi or Ben or any of them because he had seen it from the ground up. You know what I mean? Like literally the ground up because they did all those renovations. But,
And imagine what it would have meant to Starlin Castro in been there since 2010 and you just gave him one more year and but I understand, like you said, like I get why it just didn't. It didn't make sense. There was no room for him.
Sure. But I think this is a great place to leave off. I think this was a solid episode, man. First one of the year. I'm really excited about it. I can't wait for it to be up and posted. But until then, man, we'll be back later on this week. We're going to be talking about everything going on with the Chicago Cubs. And obviously, we'll find out more about the deferral and everything else going on. The Bregman contract, 5-year deal. Will he finish those 5 years? I'm very curious. Why is my camera so high, brother? I'm down here. It's short king problems. Oh, brother. Well, anyways, let me get out of here before I completely mess up this entire thing. But until then, man, this is Miles Porter. Check him out on social media. The link will be in the bio below. Make sure you check us out on Blue Line Radio on Spotify and YouTube if you want to see Miles' handsome face and his cat. You got a new cat, but that was my first introduction to your cat. No lie.
Yeah.
But until then,
she's a cutie.
I appreciate you guys. Peace.
Doors closing.